My spouse arrived home unannounced as I woke from my midday snooze. I am only a simple homemaker. While my husband is a commercial pilot, I commit myself to keep everything under control in our house. As soon as my attractive husband walked into the room, he grinned at me. He informed me he would have Asian flights, hence he is not supposed to be home for the next 5 days. Here he is, though. He kissed on the lips and handed me a bouquet. "You are so lovely. You were coming home, and I knew nothing about." Sitting on the bed next to me, he grasped my hand. I quickly cancelled my tickets and took a vacation leave as I have to make time for you when I realized our second wedding anniversary will be in 3 days. His saying those things melts my heart. Nathan is really busy, and I have always been really sympathetic. I know he will catch up at another time, hence I'm not bothered whether or not we make plans on our anniversary. His nice and considerate action really speaks to me. "Thank you for showing up," he answered. "You're welcome," kissing me on my forehead and giving me an envelope. "Here you go." I grabbed it and opened it. My heart virtually stopped. It is a ticket for Switzerland. My hands are quivering rather terribly. Is this really happening? I find this shocking. Are we traveling to Switzerland? Yes, love. Real, this is what I mean. You have always wanted to visit there, and on our anniversary there is no better way to honor your dream. So get ready and we will head off. An unexpected phone call stopped my spouse. As he was ready to answer his phone, I peered at it. The name of the contact was simply a heart emoji, but I gave it no attention. I started to squeal with delight. At long last, I'll be traveling to Switzerland. During the time that my husband was on the call, I was reading the itinerary. The trip will last for a week, and I can't wait to make the most of each and every second of it. The fact that my dearest friend from boarding school lies in Switzerland is a fortunate coincidence. After 3 years, I will finally be able to meet up with her and catch up with her. Immediately following the conclusion of the call, my husband returned his focus to me. His eyes welled up with tears as he asked me with a very broad smile, "Are you ready?" "I am, without a doubt, my love. Your hubby is the greatest there ever was. There is no need for you to carry your phone or wallet with you. I am in command of what has to be done." In response to the most intense embrace I could give him, he hugged me back. To put it simply, I am the luckiest person on the planet. When we left for the airport the next day, we got an early start, and I couldn't contain my excitement since we were going to be flying in a private jet, and my husband was going to be the pilot. The moment we stepped into the aircraft, we were met by a young woman who was both stunning and seductive. She was a flight attendant. She is really tall and slender. Both the dimensions of her body and the characteristics of her face are really attractive. "You are both very welcome, sir and madam. My name is Maya, and I will be providing assistance to your flight today. I would ask that you please take a seat, madam, and allow me to escort you to the cockpit of the airplane." Maya, on the other hand, was giving my husband a flirtatious smile while he was staring at her intensely. I spotted my husband staring at her intently. I dismissed it as unimportant, thinking that perhaps it was nothing at all. On account of the fact that I will be traveling to Switzerland, I do not wish to be troubled with the minor details. The news that I was heading to Switzerland was communicated to my buddy Sophie before we boarded the plane. I spent the entire flight living out my wildest dreams. Taking a ride on a private aircraft with my spouse as the pilot is something I have never done before. Occasionally, Maya will offer me the cuisine that I enjoy the most. "Madam, please take this cake of tiramisu. Have fun. I am grateful to you. I would appreciate it if you could check on my hobby." Despite the fact that I believe he is bored, he does not want me to come to the control booth since I would offer him some degree of distraction. I was wondering if you could check on him for a moment. Maya wore a broad smile, as if she was so thrilled to be able to perform the duties. "Yes, I am, madam. I would gladly do that for you." Immediately, she headed to the booth where the drivers were. While I was watching her make her way towards the location, I could tell that she was quite excited to do the mission. We arrived in Switzerland after a long journey that lasted for several hours. I am so giddy and excited that I am unable to hold myself any longer. When I first set foot on the soil, my heart begins to beat really quickly. When I yelled, "This is a dream come true," my spouse chuckled at my gesture. This is a dream come true. When it comes to me, this is also a dream come true. It is going to be the most amazing experience of my whole life. I am as well. All of my time will be dedicated to you, I solemnly swear. I glanced at him, and I was so perplexed because he was staring at Maya as she was inspecting our bags at the same time that he was saying those words. I was so bewildered. What I was thinking was, is he being serious? Are you sure, love? Where are we going now? I was able to get his attention, and there was a surprise in his voice when I spoke. We are going to check into the hotel first. I gave him a nod, and then followed his lead. Almost quickly, we made our way to the motel. A series of enthralling events transpired over the course of the subsequent couple of hours. The country of Switzerland is a sight to see. I was treated to a lavish supper, and he also purchased me some expensive stuff. On the other hand, Maya is here with us. Considering that this was also her first trip in Switzerland, and that she did not know too much about the country, I could understand the dilemma they were in. The reason I agreed with her was because I wanted her to come along with us. In any case, I have no problem with it because she is not a bother to me. During this time, on the positive side, my spouse has already arranged everything for this trip that will last for 1 week. The days that followed were filled with exciting new experiences. Through our travels, we visited a variety of tourist attractions and dining establishments that were on my bucket list. A wonderful sensation is the satisfaction that comes from crossing each one off the list one by one. I leaned up close to him and said, "Love, I am so grateful for everything you have done for me. It is anything for you." When he responded, I couldn't help but smile. I must confess to God that I am really fortunate to be in a relationship of this nature. My husband's phone rang after a fraction of a second had passed. Immediately, he jumped out of bed and answered the phone, but before he could react to the person on the other end of the line, he immediately turned his attention to me. Wait a split second. The reaction I gave was a nod. To respond to it, he went outside. The question of who he is phoning has piqued my interest. Despite the fact that he promised me that I would have his time for a week, he is constantly being interrupted by phone calls on a regular basis. Despite the fact that 30 minutes have passed, he is still outdoors engaging in his phone activity. It really irritates me. Why does it take him so much longer? I will wait till an hour has passed. When I was going to leave the house to check on him, he unlocked the door and walked straight to fetch his wallet and keys. I was about to enter the house. "What have you decided to do?" "I'll be out of here in a quick moment. Business." I responded with another nod, but before he could leave the room, I peeked at his phone and saw the same contact with a heart emoji. I immediately knew that he was about to leave. Is he still sending calls to that individual? Is that a person? I was not sure. The following morning, I awoke. On the 6th day of our excursion, we had already reached today. It was not until last night that I realized I had already fallen asleep as I was waiting for my spouse. Although he promised to be back soon, I remained there for the entirety of the night. Just where in the hell is he? My spouse was still not present when the clock struck 12 o'clock in the afternoon. In spite of my best efforts, I was unable to get in touch with him. I started to feel anxious. It was then that I recalled that I was short on funds due to the fact that he insisted on paying for everything. When I attempted to get in touch with him once more, I was unable to do so since he had blocked me. When the phone in my hotel room rang, I picked it up and answered it right away. "Hiya. The front desk of the hotel is located here. Your checkout time is exactly 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Request that you check out of your hotel room at the specified hour or earlier, and then proceed to the receptionist booth to pay your bill, which is valued at $200,000. I'm grateful to you. I came dangerously close to dropping the phone. Money is not something I possess. I am beginning to feel anxious. My hands are trembling, and my heart is racing so quickly that I can feel it. I said, "Yes, thank you," and then my call came to an end. As my eyes began to well up with tears, I began to cry. I was having trouble breathing normally. My husband is in my life. On the other hand, before I could give in to my anxiousness, my husband sent me an email, which was a really disturbing email. It pains me to tell you this, but I am finished with you, Tessa. For the very last time, I made an effort to be exceptional, and as a result, I brought you on this journey, but I am no longer able to keep up appearances. You are not loved by me. I did not do it. Being in your company was a chore and a bore. I am not going to let Maya, the love of my life, stop me from escaping. The fact that you were rude to her during the flight and the vacation was the primary reason why she insisted on leaving you behind. It is important to me that you do not abuse her because I will damage you if you do so. Take note of what I have said. Why don't you just quit calling me? Until we meet again. As I sobbed so hard, I let out a cry. This is not going to take place. It is impossible for him to abandon me in such a state in this country. The instant I spotted Maya staring at my husband and vice versa, I knew that something was going on between them. I knew it was something serious. I was aware that they had feelings for one another. What does he mean when he says that I treated that woman poorly? I did not do it. In spite of the fact that I found it awkward to have her accompany us on our journey, I dealt with her with kindness. In every way, this is just ludicrous. My head is filled with a lot of different things at the moment. A hotel room with a big cost, my husband abandoning me, and his mistress placing words in his lips are all things that have happened to me. Despite the fact that the clock was almost at 1 o'clock, the telephone continued to ring. Whenever I think about the bills, I feel a great deal of anxiety. What are they going to do to me if I am unable to pay? Are you going to arrest me? The door was knocked on, and I was so anxious that I couldn't even breathe. It is important to remind you, ma'am. In fewer than 30 minutes, you will be checked out of the facility. I am at a loss on what to do at this point. I am completely disoriented and all by myself. I am at a loss on where to go and who to turn to for assistance. I was surprised to feel my body tense up as I recalled someone. There is someone who is able to assist me. Let me give Sophie a call. I was thinking of my best buddy from when I was in boarding school. I am confident that she is able to assist me. I decided to contact her straight away, and she picked up the phone right away. I was wondering if you were still in Switzerland. The instant I heard her voice, I burst into tears. Upon realizing that I was sobbing, she began to experience a state of terror. What's going on, Jojo? Are you okay? What is the matter? When my husband left me, he took his mistress with him. What should I do? I am at a loss. Please lend me a hand. At this very moment, where are you? Will you be able to email me the location? Yes, I will go there without delay. This meeting of the president is practically at its conclusion. Is it a meeting of the president? Oh yes, my father has a meeting. I already informed you that he is the president of the country, right? What? What is it? It was a mystery to me. Laughing gently, she laughed. As you say, he is. Therefore, you should not be concerned since we will locate both your jerk husband and his mistress. There is no way that they will be departing Switzerland as if nothing had occurred. Those words brought a sense of calm to my heart as she spoke them. I cannot express how grateful I am to have a buddy who is so impactful. During the time that I was waiting for her, I sat on the ground and stared at my phone, which was surrounded by photographs of Nathan and me sharing happier days together. After a wait of 30 minutes, Sophie arrived at last. I was instantly backed by her, and she even paid for my hotel cost. She comforted me and offered her assistance. Jojo, we have no choice but to hold them accountable for their actions. We should make their treachery known to the entire globe. In the back of my mind, I had a strong desire to get back together with my husband, but then I became aware of his harsh behavior and how terrible it was that he abandoned me by leaving me here in this foreign area. I have a desire to exact retribution. Yes, you are correct, Emily. They will not be able to go away with this. We are going to expose everyone for what they really are. Following that, we embarked on our strategy, which included the collection of evidence and the compilation of exhaustive documents of his abuse prior to this occurrence. These records included his complaints about our marriage, his words of anguish, and his covert affairs. Furthermore, with the assistance of Sophie's connections with an intelligence agency, we were able to discover a multitude of messages, images, and evidence that Nathan was having an affair. All day long, we were thinking about what our next move would be. We will begin by disseminating the evidence throughout various social media platforms. Let's blow the whistle on their affair so that everyone may see it. Excellent. I will make use of my connections to make sure that their faces are shown prominently around the airport. It will be impossible for them to avoid the humiliation. I am not only excited but also determined to witness their fall from grace. They have to feel ashamed of themselves. In order to formulate our strategy, we headed to the airport the following day. There is a lot of activity going on at the airport. The faces of Nathan and Maya are on wanted posters, and people are whispering and pointing as they identify them. While all was going on, we were observing from a distance, concealed among the numerous people, up to the point that I spotted them strolling together, softly holding hands and acting as if they didn't plan to be caught. I was really anxious about what was about to take place. I am aware of the tears that are beginning to gather in my eyes. To put it another way, Sophie, it is time to address them. The fact that we were there was unknown to them. The two of them made their way through the terminal with their heads bowed. The tone of my voice was laced with resolve as I took a step forward. I believe that you, Nathan and Maya, have something to communicate to me and to everyone else who is present today. I started yelling at them. The moment they knew they had been apprehended, they froze, and their faces became pale. The area surrounding us started to become crowded. The bystanders muttered in indifference and amazement as they watched. Nathan and Maya were the ones that felt the consequences of their acts as a result of their disapproving stares. Did you really believe that you could betray me and get away with it without any consequences? At this point, the entire world is aware of your true identity. Joe, if you please. An error was made by me. I truly apologize. Please forgive us. We ask you to show us mercy. My eyes were filled with a mixture of fury and despair as I gazed at them. Now your apologies are completely meaningless to me. Both of you are entirely deserving of the humiliation that you are experiencing. After leaving them, I did so with a proud and confident demeanor. They continued to get a hostile look from the throng, which whispered their disgust. I stood on the balcony of my hotel and watched as the city continued to move forward without my spouse and the life that I had utilized in the past. An overwhelming feeling of self-assurance washed over me as I took a deep breath. I will not allow their treachery to define who I am. My life will be rebuilt with more strength and wisdom than it was before. An offer of citizenship in Switzerland was extended to me by Sophie, and I am more than glad to welcome it. After purchasing a home in the countryside, I made the decision to make it my permanent residence. I am more than prepared to go out on a road of getting to know myself better and finding healing.